like this or like this, will have a matching bead right here. And so this bead fits into here and helps it fit into place. So your tires, you can have either a bead that is wire, so this is like a steel wire. You'll get, it looks like one thing. Or you can have a folding bead tire like this, which then is a lot more floppy and a little harder to install. So if you see a tire, either of them can be installed. This one might be a little more difficult if you're not experienced with it.
But it's easier to pack away.
But it's much easier to carry with you if you need a spare and you're touring or something like that. And so there's folding bead, wire bead, different kinds of tires. And so for tubes, we have two different kinds of common valves. We have the car style valve, which is Schrader valve, like this, or like this. So these are the same kind of valve. They use a standard car style pump. There's a pin in the middle that gets pressed, and then you can inflate it or deflate it that way. You do want to normally use a cap on it because dirt can get in there and it can clog the valve, and then you'll just have a slow leak. So they'll often have a little cap that I don't actually have with me. Okay.
Do you not have a Presta?
Yeah, he does.
Oh,
It's,
I
up,
see it.
it's dangling
Right
off
there.
the side.
There's two Prestas. So then I have Presta. The other style is Presta. Presta is thinner, so your rim will determine what kind of valve you have. So a smaller one like this, actually I'll do this one. You can see that just barely fits in there. Then you can see this has a little tightening ring that would tighten it in place so you can inflate it more easily. But if I tried to then use the Schrader with this, it's not going to fit. So make sure you get the right tube for your rim. On the other hand, if you try to use a Presta with a Schrader, it'll seem like it works. It might work for a little while, but the danger is if you're at a higher pressure, you can imagine that this little bit of rubber right here might blow off. It's just being held by the rubber on the inside. And so it might wear off, and then your valve is just going to pop out, and you're going to have a fire. So make sure you get the right valve that's for your rim. So how do you tell if your valve is the right kind of rim or right tube? So these are boxes of them. Sometimes there'll often be a picture. Here it says, this is a, it says SV, but this is a Presta valve. It's probably German. This one says Presta valve. This just says Presta valve. Normally there's a picture and tells you how long it is. If you have a deep rim, which I don't have an example of, but if you bought a Fixies or other style bikes like that, single speeds, will have a long deep rim. And then you have a short little valve like this, it's going to be like that, and you're going to be trying to put a pump on it or attach anything, you're going to have some difficulty. So make sure you, if you are ever in doubt, when you go to a bike shop, bring your wheel with you, or a picture of the wheel, show them it, and say, this is what I need, or bring the old tube, or what you can, just to make sure you get the right thing. So here, this is a Presta valve and other things. Okay.
When you buy the valve, does it come separately?
The valve is part of the tube.
So every time you buy it, it'll already come with the tube.
Yes, yes. The tube and the valve are generally one piece, at least when you're buying a tube.
Yeah.
So this is a box that would have a tube in it.
Oh.
So if you get a new tube, let's say you bought this tube 1993 at Kmart, do be careful. If you have one sitting around for a long time, they do not store very well, and this one develops some cracks. So if you have one sitting in your garage and you're going to use that in an emergency, maybe inflate it with air and make sure that it still holds air, because this one does not. It has some cracks in it from just being folded for, that's a lot of years. So do be aware that tubes do have a finite lifespan and might wear out, especially if folded like this. And so the other thing to know about tubes is that they have sizes. You can notice that there's some variation in the sizes here. Often on the side there'll be written some kind of sizing. So it'll either written in white right here, stamped on the side. This will match what was on the tube right here. Sorry, not tube. The box right here. And so it'll say something like 700 by 20/28. That slash is a range because they're already using the dash somewhere else, so they don't want it to be confusing. So that means if your tire is, let's say 700C, which is the same as this, and that'll be written on the side of your tire right here. So it says 700C by 28, 700 by 28C. That corresponds
Yesterday when I said
to the size of the tube I just picked up, the other one I had, which was 700 by 28. And so you can see this one is 700 by 18. Now they're using a hyphen because they're confusing and inconsistent. So you'll just have to either read the box, ask the bike shop. Always, if you go to a bike shop, they should be able to help you and make sure you get the right thing. If you bring the wheel with you or the bike with you, that's the best because they know exactly what you need. Because sometimes, especially if you have a very old bike, you can have some weird sizes that sound like they'd be the same thing, but are not compatible.
That's a really good point because